Thanks for joining the session. So I would, though Govind shared an introduction about me, I have been into data centers for over 17 years. Have been working with STT GDC as a sales lead for Northeast and government functions. So the topic that I chose for today was data centers built for the connected world. So the idea primarily comes from why data centers and what has been the growth story of data centers and how critical the data is when it comes to the overall data of a particular company. So I'll begin from the agenda. So when we talk about agenda, I talk about that one, it's always a connected world. The data never sleeps, irrespective of whatever time it is. The data keeps on, the incremental data keeps on adding up. Now, the question is, where does all this data reside? What is the importance of having that data in a secured environment or with redundancies built in? So what all we do in that particular area. So one is the future drivers and trends that we see in this particular area is what I would go through as I move forward in this presentation. So what I was talking about is what are the major milestones that happened right from the time when the smoke signals were given or across the centuries when we had pigeon posts or we had printing presses, telegrams. So today, when we talk about data centers having hybrid clouds, or we talk about PaaS, SaaS kind of models which would be there. So what it has done is mobility brought internet into the hands of customer, point number one. Second, cloud made everything happen. There were a lot of analytics that happened, and there's been a lot of need for upskilling of the working population with all the evolving technologies. So right from the smoke signal time to the pigeon time or to the mobile time, and now when we are offering cloud and cloud as per use or compute as per demand, those are the kind of data technologies that have evolved over the period of time. So what happens here is one, the first principle in all the modern day technology is security. What is in terms of physical security or IT security, what are the covers that you build? What is the kind of coverage? How do you reach that particular data? What is the kind of connectivity or network that is established over there? What are the tools and tackles that are used and allow the processes and to be used by the entire people across the lifetime of that particular service? And what is the reliability, the sustainability of that? And what are the improved experiences that happen in that particular use of modern technologies is something that we're looking into. Data comes in every minute of the day. So if we look at the statistics which are shown over here across various platforms, we see it may be Twitter, it may be TikTok, it may be Instagram or any other medium that is being used. There are a lot of data that is getting resided. And now the basic thing is that where does this all data go? And how do we ensure the security of this data? How do we ensure the redundancies of this data? What are the platforms where these particular data are being maintained is something which is interesting also, and which is something which we excel into. The statistics here talk about the digitization quest. How many users are there in the internet, social media, the various factors which are there is increased spending which happens from the enterprises for the maintenance of this data, changing landscape of customers. That is one more attribute to this particular point. So now, why data center? So a data center is a building which is purpose built for storage of this particular data. It can be a building or set of buildings, and it uses or houses a lot of IT equipment and a lot of storage equipment, network equipment, telecommunication equipment. And what goes into building of a particular data center is something which is changing and evolving right from the non-IT infrastructure to the IT infrastructure to the physical security aspect of it. The facilities which range from a small server room to a mid-sized data hall, or to a capacity build or a captive purpose-built data center for cloud services and multi-tenanted colo services are all classified under this particular thing. So customers have better uptimes in terms of the data centers. So we talk about, when we talk about the commercials, there are OPEX versus CAPEX options. You have expansions, green considerations. When we talk about the green considerations, what happens today is that we are more talking about the renewable energies which are coming in. We're looking at lesser use of water, and we're looking at maintaining the ambient temperature across these particular data centers. And considering the COVID situation that we were through, a lot of impact was taken away because of these data residing in the data centers, and we all going the way of e-education, e-health, e-entertainment. Working from home became easier because all the data was getting over here, and people started investing more into data centers because there was a lot of data which was getting now accumulated. So the expansion of those particular data centers became high. Now, what are the data centers' key drivers? One, there is an increase in the connectivity, the submarine connectivity, inland connectivity, edge computing has increased, low power tariffs, COVID-19 impacts, state-of-the-art IT infrastructure, cloud adoption. So a lot of people have moved to the cloud, considering that it decreases their spend on IT equipments and they pay as per demand. Second is the data center interconnects have happened, tax incentives are being provided. Data localization is one more thing which has increased this, because now all the BFSI customers, they need to have their data in the country. And the data center investments into 2021 grew up by something like 35%. That is the kind of figure that we have. The future drivers and the trends across it is that, one, a lot of cloud deployments are happening. A lot of government policies are being created across data centers. So now data center as an industry has got an infrastructure. They are now classified as under infrastructure. Third is that there's a lot of rise in AI and IoT. A lot of upskilling and right skilling of people is happening over here. So taking you through STT GDC. So STT Telemedia Global Data Centers is basically headquartered in Singapore, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of STT, and a subsidiary of Temasek. STT has been into data center business for quite a long time. We manage over 140 data centers with an IT load of 1.6 gigawatt and a floor area that exceeds 7 lakh square meters across various geographies, namely Singapore, India, UK, Thailand, China, South Korea, Philippines, and Indonesia. We are an integrated global platform of carrier-neutral data centers, and since we have been there, we have been expanding to build significant presence across major economic markets. So this is just a footprint of how we are placed today. Our footprint spans across 7 geographies and 130 data centers. So if we talk about UK, so then we are there by the name of Vertus, having around 11 data centers with a total IT load of 180 megawatt. India, we are now with 21 data centers, and the total IT load is increasing. It's now becoming something like 200 megawatt. Singapore, we have 8 data centers and IT load of 100 megawatts. So those are the kind of figures we talk about across the locations. We have been there in China with somewhere around 94 data centers. South Korea is something new that has come in, and we have already started our operations over there. And Thailand, we already have a couple of data centers. In Indonesia, we are coming up with 3 data centers, and we are looking to start services from that particular geography also. This is when we talk about the data center, so we are very clear about the ESG strategy. So what we emphasize on is environmental impact, the social impact, and we're responsible about it. So if you look at the climate action and clean water and sanitization, these are all with reference to the US goals. And we are ensuring that we have the right set of processes being followed, because ever since COVID came in a couple of years back, our industry has been working. We have been ensuring the safety and security of our customers, of our operations team, the people who have been on the ground, irrespective of COVID or no COVID. They have been working with the new normal, and we have ensured that we align all the goals with reference to the set things over there. Okay, so this is again with reference to the US standards. So we talk about the social impacts of construction. So we have ensured that we ensure that the EHS and right conditions are there. Human capital is there. Green building certifications is something that we emphasize on. Many of our data centers are green buildings. In fact, some of them are even LEED certified. We are looking into renewable energies. We are looking into water-cooled and air-cooled kind of cooling, air-cooled kind of cooling, considering that we need to save water over a period of time. So major data centers that we talk about is, we talk about footprint, which I believe you're able to see right now. We talk about 21 data centers covering all the major locations across India. This is something like 9 cities, 21 data centers, 3 million square feet of space, and this is very specific to India only. 1,000+ customers who we are serving, and across all verticals. 200 megawatt of IT load, and as far as the market share is concerned, we have around 30% of market share in India. We have a revenue growth of 2.7x, and we are having a capacity growth of 5.4x. So on the right hand of the side of the screen that you're seeing is the new facilities that we're coming up with. And this would essentially mean that we'll be expanding the IT load by 2x. So these are the new facilities that are being planned currently across these geographies. And we will be having all the data center certifications done intact. Okay, so as far as NCR region is concerned, we are coming up with a data center in NOIDA. It is designed to support the growing digital economy ecosystem of the region. So the location is 143A. The gross area of this building is 5 acres. So we are looking at slab to slab height of 5.5 meters with a floor loading of 1500 kg per meter square. These data centers would be the two buildings that we're talking about is 18 megawatt plus 18 megawatt. So it will be essentially 36 megawatt of IT load that would be coming up. And we expect that this data center should be up and running by somewhere around Q2, Q3 this financial year. This is 2022 ready for service, 360,000 square feet, 18 megawatt IT capacity to start off, and the second building will come up with again 18 megawatt. A rated 3 purpose built data center. The power, we have reliable power. The power comes in from dual sources, 33 kilovolt sources, 3 diverse paths that come into the data center. We are looking at green building initiatives, and we have been able to record something like 100% uptime across chillers, generators, UPS sets. And when we say modular design, it is something like 5.5 kilowatts, so that you can have rack spaces up to 55U. So that basically reduces your footprint, and you can have high density setups which can be installed over here. Ahmedabad, we are in GIFT City, and it's a centrally located business district center over there. So this is one data center which is a rated 4. So we have a power capacity of 3 megawatt over there with a slab to slab height of 4.4 meters, and all the relevant certifications which are required for a data center are already in place. So this is something, this is one of our first rated 4 data center, because generally the data centers that we have are rated 3 and rated 3 plus, considering the green power or the green power that we take into picture. multi-layer security system operational since 2015, 70,000 square feet of data center size, 3 megawatt of IT power. We commit an uptime of 99.999 in there. And it's a compliant TIA 942 rated 4 design. We have N+1 power sources coming in this particular data center. So STT Bengaluru is one of the most preferred data center destinations. So this data center came up in 2019. It's a purpose-built data center, 6-story building. We have a floor area of 395,000 square feet with one loading bay over there, and SLAs which are available up to 99.999. Power capacity of this data center would be something like 18 megawatt. So we already have started operations for this facility. So this is the third data center that we have in Bangalore. And Whitefield area, we have 2 and then 1 in Sanjay Nagar. So this is a data center wherein we were ready for service in December 2019. We started services over there. So the data center is something like 40,000 square feet with an IT power of 18 megawatt. It's a rated 3 building. So again, it's a certified TIA 942 rated data center with all 5 levels of security, network connectivity. All our data centers are career neutral. So, and we offer diverse paths for the providers to reach our data center. So it's a 66 kilovolt dedicated GIS substation that we use for Bangalore. And okay. Now, what we are doing here is we are providing services to major hyperscalers and major cloud service providers. So we support the public cloud deployments as well as the private cloud deployments for enterprises. So today, if we talk about, we are working with a lot of verticals. We talk about BFSI, we talk about hyperscaler, government. So we are offering services to them. And we have a lot of providers, or if we talk about hybrid deployments across our data centers. And we are, as of now, looking to provide services to across more data centers that are coming up, which I mentioned earlier, that we're looking at a 2x rate on that particular expansions that we are targeting currently.